Today we're going to be doing an iPad 4. That's the new iPad with the lightning charging cable. We will be doing the home button replacement. This one has already been opened and the home button was actually damaged, which is why we have it. So what you're going to need though, if you haven't already opened it, is an iPad smudger here. You're going to want a pair of tweezers, and you're going to need a very small Phillips screw bit, as well as your replacement home button with the flex cable, and that is new for the iPad 4. So what you would do normally is go ahead and heat this and put your smudger underneath. Kind of start down in this corner is where I like to start. Get underneath. You'll go around, heat a little bit of an area at a time, and loosen the glue. This one's already been done. There are other videos where you can see that done in more detail. This one actually looks just like the 3, besides you will have the home button cable actually adhered to the back of the screen right here. So if you're just changing the screen, be extremely mindful of that. Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and peel this up as it's already been opened before. And when you are doing this, be extremely careful, because it is very frustrating when you break the digitizer, unless it's already broken and you're replacing it. It's extremely frustrating when you damage a perfectly good new one. So go ahead and open this up from right to left. The reason for doing that is that your digitizer cable is down here on the bottom left. I don't want to open this all the way, as that'll kind of pull that out. So here you can see this home button is obviously damaged, not looking like that one. I don't want to open this all the way, so I'm just going to go ahead and lean it on this air can right here. And the next step is to remove this LCD. Actually, the next step is to make sure that your iPad is powered off. The 3s and the 4s have an occasion to short, and what it will end up doing is causing half of your screen to be dim. So go ahead, your touchscreen will still work at this point. So we're just going to go ahead and turn that off. Otherwise, make sure you turn this off before you start. Okay, so the iPad's off now. We're going to go ahead and remove these 4 screws using the Phillips bit. Okay, I'm going to twist this. Now we want to lift up the LCD. This is a Wi-Fi only model, so there are no antennas here. If there were, these would kind of be obstructing you from lifting as easily as this. So what I would normally do is maybe take a flathead and just kind of get under the corner here and lift it up from there. Be gentle here, because you don't really want this to bend. Since this is the Wi-Fi though, I'm going to go ahead and use my finger here and just gently lift this up. Also lift this way as well, because it plugs in over here, and you'll see that in just a second here. Alright, so now I am underneath the LCD. I'm going to grab my tweezers real quick. You can see there is a piece of tape here, and this is holding down, this is the LCD plug. So I'm going to go ahead and lift off that tape and set that aside. And now you'll see there is a black little bar here holding this down. Go ahead and flip that up, and that will unlock the LCD. So now go ahead and remove the LCD. What I like to do is kind of come from the left here. Be careful not to be too rough with this, and just gently lift this out. I'll use my right hand actually, and it should just slide over to the left of the iPad and pop out. Okay, be gentle with that. Try not to get any fingerprints on there. If you do, you can use a like glasses cloth to wipe that off, and it usually comes off pretty good. Otherwise, get the chemical and you can clean it. Be gentle though, make sure you use the right one. I'm just going to go ahead and put that aside for a second. Okay, so now we're looking in the iPad. You can see your digitizer plug here. If this was broken, you would pop these 2 up, take this tape off, and remove that completely, and basically reinsert a new one. But we're not going to do that on this repair. We're just going to focus on this guy right here. So the next step here is to remove this piece of tape. Using your tweezers again, be gentle. We're just going to set that aside as well. Okay, now you can see the home button is actually plugged in right here, this flex cable. So we're going to go ahead and flip this back switch up, and that should allow us to remove this cable. You remove that, and we'll just basically throw that away because we don't need that anymore. Now let's take our new cable. Be gentle with this because these are extremely fragile, and if they bend too much, they will break. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of lay it there. I'm just going to lay it down here so it doesn't have any pressure or stress on it. Now I'm just going to go ahead and use the tweezers and plug this one in. I'm just being extremely careful here. Alright, it looks like that's about as far as it's going to go in. So I'm going to go ahead and clamp that back down and relock that. Alright, once we have the new home button laid in, we're going to take that tape that we removed earlier. So we're just going to go ahead and place it back over these connections here. Like such. Go ahead and adhere that back down. Okay, that looks good. Now our next step is to put the LCD back in place. I'm right-handed, so I kind of like to use my right hand here to get underneath. What I'll do is hold it here, trying to keep my thumb off the screen so I don't get any fingerprints. And then I will just reach underneath here and easily plug the LCD back into the port that we had removed it from earlier. Be mindful of the home button cable here as well, as you don't really want to twist that or put any pressure on that. Now go ahead and use your tweezers to relock that clamp that we unlocked, the black bar. Push that back down. That will hold your LCD in place. And reinsert that tape as well. We're going to go ahead and lay down the LCD now. Be gentle pushing this down here. Okay, now we need to put these 4 screws back in place. Okay, we'll go ahead and brush off this screen. You can see some dust has accumulated here, and you don't really want that. Also looks like we have a couple fingerprint marks. Sometimes that's unavoidable. I'll just go ahead and use a lens cloth and wipe those off. Yeah, I like to use the circular motion here. It seems to work the best. Okay, that screen looks pretty good. So what I like to do now is just adhere this back on top of this home button so that it will lay nicely in place. I'm just going to go ahead and use a little bit of glue here. Just dab there. Also, you can use the two-sided tape. This is the same tape as the iPad 3, by the way, so feel free to use that if you have sets of that tape. I'm just going to grab this like this. I don't want to twist this cable at all. So I'm just going to move it straight up and pop it on there. And then it's laying there. You can check it and make sure that it clicks right. It sounds like it's clicking pretty well. So that will definitely work. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put down the adhesive here. I have that left over from before. Now this will fold in here. This time I actually really want to close this up because I'm finishing this repair for a customer. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of glue in some of the hot spots. Sometimes the tape doesn't seem to work and the left side will pop up. So I like to add just a little bit of glue. Sometimes the home button will come up a little bit. Be careful with the glue though, you don't want to use too much. On top every now and then. I'm just using little dabs here, not a lot. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way so I can get a better view of this left side here. I'm going to go ahead and dab some glue on there. So this will hold. Alright, I may have touched the screen earlier, so I'm just going to give it a gentle wipe down here. And we should be good to lay down the screen now. So I'm going to go ahead, get it in place, and lay it down. I'll run my fingers up the sides, make sure it's in. And it feels in there pretty good. And that is it. Our home button should be working now. I'll go ahead and turn it on to make sure. I'm gonna go grab some clamps while I wait for this. Usually when I glue my iPads back down, I like to use kind of like clothespins. I'll put one on the left down there, one on the bottom, and then the other corners just to make sure that it closes up properly and the glue has time to set. I'll go ahead and walk this back now. And now that we have it all clamped and ready to go, we're going to go ahead and test the new home button. You can see they used to have the gesture on, but we're going to go ahead and double tap this and see if the music comes up. There it is. We're going to go ahead and test all the buttons. Everything looks like it's working fine. 1, 2, 3, test 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, test 0, cancel. And we're good to go. That is the new iPad 4 home button cable replacement.